It's time for another real-time fact check, Mr. Speaker. Homeland FY24 increased funding for border agents, $496 million for 22,000 new Border Patrol agents. That's the highest ever funded. You know, it's rich when I hear my colleagues from across the aisle talk about bills that are named one thing and do another. This is from a party that hung their entire term on the Inflation Reduction Act, which neither reduced inflation nor helped the economy. And they later said that it was about preventing global warming. So again, rich coming from a party that often misnames their key mark legislation. Let's talk about sanctuary cities, because there's one thing that we can do, and we can end sanctuary cities policies. You know, for years, Democrats have criticized House Republicans and President Trump for wanting to secure our border and protect our communities. And they just criticize us when we say that. But when the crisis comes to their own backyards, you know, instead of a small rural town on the southern border, when it comes to their sanctuary cities, Democrats are the first ones to declare an emergency. Look at Martha's Vineyard. It took, when Ron DeSantis sent a few illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard, it took those woke yuppies less than 12 hours to call the National Guard to remove the illegal immigrants. And I'm willing to bet there were more "hate has no home here" signs in the pristine, well-manicured yards of Martha's Vineyard than actual illegal immigrants, and they still called the National Guard to remove those immigrants from Martha's Vineyards. You know, just don't take my word from it. New York City Mayor Eric Adams, over 110,000 migrants have reached New York City. Mayor Adams decried, and I quote, "The national government has turned its back on New York City," end quote. When illegal migrants showed up in Massachusetts, Governor Maura Healey declared a state of emergency and said the quiet part out loud, and I quote, "Massachusetts has stepped up to address the crisis that sadly has been a federal crisis of inaction that is many years in the making," unquote. So one thing's clear, even Democrats now in their sanctuary cities are realizing that Biden has created this border crisis, and Democrats have ignored it for years. Republicans, thankfully, are finally stepping up and leading where they failed. Any of my friends from across the aisle, if they want to help us, if they want to end this crisis, they can vote for the rule today and vote for the underlying legislation.